The Magic Feather and the Sleeping Dragon. It was, in a land far beyond the rainbow, there was a small, enchanted village nestled between tall, whispering trees and shimmering lakes. In this village lived a curious little girl named Lily, who loved to explore. She had a best friend, Max, a playful brown cocker spaniel with floppy ears that always got in the way when he ran too fast. Together, they discovered all sorts of mysteries. One day, as they wandered through the woods, Lily spotted something unusual. There, shimmering under the sunlight, was a golden feather, floating gently down from the sky. "Max, look!" Lily said, her eyes wide with excitement. Max barked and wagged his tail, but something about the feather made him tilt his head, as if he could sense that this was no ordinary find. Lily reached out and caught the feather. The moment it touched her hand, the entire forest seemed to hold its breath. The leaves stopped rustling, the birds went quiet, and even Max sat very still. Suddenly, a deep, booming voice echoed from the distance. "Who dares to take my magic feather?" it said, sounding both grumpy and sleepy. Lily clutched the feather tightly and looked around nervously. "Who's there?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. From behind a large, moss-covered boulder came the most unexpected sight. A gigantic, shimmering dragon emerged, stretching its wings and yawning. It had emerald green scales that glistened like stars, and its golden eyes blinked slowly as it lazily approached them. But instead of roaring, it seemed more sleepy. Max barked twice, but even he seemed more curious than afraid. "I'm Ember, the dragon said in a groggy voice. "And that feather belongs to me." Lily took a deep breath and stepped forward. "I didn't know it was yours. I just found it in the forest." The dragon squinted at her, then smiled faintly. "That feather," he explained, "is a piece of magic. You see, I've been asleep for 100 years, and it helps me dream of wonderful things. But when it leaves me, I wake up." "Oh," said Lily, feeling a bit guilty. "I didn't mean to wake you." The dragon yawned again, curling up on the soft grass. "It's all right. But since I'm awake, I suppose we can go on a little adventure." Lily's eyes lit up. "An adventure? With a dragon?" Ember nodded slowly. "But first, I'll need that feather back to gather my strength." Lily handed the feather to the dragon, who placed it gently beneath his wing. In an instant, the air around them began to shimmer and swirl with colors. Suddenly, they were no longer in the forest. Instead, they stood on top of a mountain, overlooking a kingdom filled with glittering castles, flying ships, and clouds that sparkled like diamonds. Max barked with excitement, wagging his tail so fast that it became a blur. "This," said Ember, with a proud grin, "is Dreamland. A place I visit in my dreams. And now you're here too." As they wandered through Dreamland, they met talking trees, danced with moonlight fairies, and even flew on the back of Ember as he soared through the starry skies. Max chased glowing butterflies that left trails of light wherever they went, and Lily laughed so hard her sides hurt. But soon, Ember began to grow tired again. "I must rest now," he said softly, landing them gently back in the enchanted forest. Lily nodded, understanding. "Will we ever see Dreamland again?" Ember smiled, his golden eyes twinkling. As long as you remember the magic of the feather, dreamland will always be in your heart. With that, the dragon curled up beneath the trees, the golden feather glowing softly under his wing. In no time at all, he was fast asleep, and the forest returned to its peaceful hum. Lily and Max walked back home, the sun setting behind them, knowing they had just been part of something magical. And from that day on, whenever Lily looked up at the sky or Max wagged his tail by the fire, they knew that somewhere in their dreams, Ember the dragon was waiting to take them on another adventure. The end.